Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Smells Like. I'm Josh. So good to see you. This is my full review on Tom Ford's Noir Extreme for men. This is an eau de parfum concentration released in 2015. The perfumer is Sonia Constant. Sonia Constant is a perfumer that has done some amazing fragrances for Tom Ford. She's also done some great fragrances for other brands, other houses. In fact, she's a perfumer I would predict you're going to see some good stuff from, even in the future. Just saw today that she's doing some work for Narciso Rodriguez. Keep an eye on her. Definitely a perfumer that has already put out some hits and is still on the rise. Tom Ford Noir Extreme is classified as an Oriental Woody fragrance. I think that is a fitting classification. Let's talk about the notes here. Top notes are mandarin orange, neroli, saffron, nutmeg, and cardamom. The heart notes are mastic, which is a resin that is used like in gum. It's like a gummy resin. So that's one of the heart notes. The rest of the heart notes are rose, jasmine, orange blossom, and kulfi. Kulfi is an Indian dessert traditionally made from Himalayan snow and pistachio. So we have that accord is one of the interesting accords in this fragrance. More on that in a second. Base notes are woods, amber, sandalwood, and vanilla. So this fragrance is really based around some spices. It has a lot of that spicy nuance, especially the opening. You've got a little bit of brightness from that mandarin, some freshness from the neroli, kind of a cold spiciness from the saffron, or from the cardamom, cold spice from the cardamom, a little bit of warmth from the nutmeg. Really an interesting opening. That saffron gives it that. Saffron is hard to explain, but it's almost like it makes me think of like kind of almost like a sour fresh spice. I don't know, saffron. I really like saffron. It's kind of leathery, and it really works well, I think, mixed with other spices, and I think particularly in like Oriental style fragrances. The top notes of the fragrance really fade pretty quickly, and I wish that they lasted a little bit longer, because the opening really is one of those wow openings. It's one of those fragrances that, it's designed for when you spray it on in the store, that you're like, wow, this smells amazing. It really does that. It really brings you in with the opening. Those opening notes, that brightness starts to fade pretty quickly as you get into the heart, and then you get into those resins from that mastic. Mastic is used like in gum. It's like a natural resin from plants that they use to make like in candy and gum and certain things like that. So that's used in this, and it gives it a resinous texture to the perfume. That mixed with that kulfi dessert, which is kind of like an ice cream type of dessert, really starts to give this its creamy edge. And that's really what this fragrance is I think mainly about, is this vanillic, sweet, creamy vibe going on. In the heart, though, we have some florals that we have to contend with. We have rose and jasmine in particular, which are kind of, typically used in classic feminine perfumes. That's the classic duo for classic women's perfume is rose and jasmine, right? And so those do remind me in a little bit of like the smell of, I have actually a really specific memory. This reminds me of sitting in church next to my grandma and her pulling a Kleenex out of her purse and like rubbing my nose if I started to have I must have had snot running out of my nose when I was a little kid. Reaching up and making me blow my nose with this Kleenex from her purse that smelled like, makeup and perfume, and kind of smelled like her purse, plus that kind of powdery, clean thing, that smell that Kleenexes have. Something about this reminds me of that. It reminds me a little bit of like the dry, clean Kleenex smell. And then those florals kind of remind me of that memory of my grandma and like my grandma's handbag and all that. But don't let that turn you off. That's just one aspect of what this reminds me of. That's a very minimal aspect of this perfume. And it doesn't go too floral. It's a little bit powdery, but again, it doesn't go too powdery. I'm not a big fan of powder in fragrance. I don't like powdery very much. This has just a little bit of that. The creamy facets temper that. And the spices and creamy aspects and the resinous aspects of this also temper those florals. So it never goes floral. To me, it never goes like too feminine. It doesn't smell like a classic, women's floral perfume or anything like that at all. It just has that little facet of it. But the main facets of this perfume is the base, where you have this woodsy accord, you have an amber accord, which is very rich and very warm, almost like dusty. I would say this is more of a dusty perfume than it is powdery. I use dusty to describe amber a lot, because amber is it's almost powdery, but it isn't powdery the way that like some florals can be powder, or actual, like powder is. It's kind of just more like a little dusting on it. And I feel like maybe that's coming from the amber here. We also have sandalwood, which is, obviously woodsy, but sandalwood can be creamy too. It lends this smooth texture. And then that vanilla adds to that kind of vanilla ice cream thing. So this has some gourmandish elements, but I wouldn't call it a full-on gourmand. Gourmand meaning like it smells like you would want to eat it. It does smell kind of yummy, but that is mixed with so many of these spices and these accords, the amber, the woods, the vanilla, that it stays smelling kind of on the more seductive side, and it stays smelling like a fine perfume ought to smell. There's a darkness and a mysterious depth to this perfume that I love. And that aspect of it really outweighs the heart kind of dusty floral aspect that is just okay to me. I don't dislike any aspect of this perfume, but that dusty floral in the heart is just, I just like it okay. It's just okay to me. The rest of the perfume I love, and that's enough of it to love to call this a winner in my book. There's something about this that I keep reaching for. I keep wanting to smell it. I keep wanting to wear it. It works good in pretty much any situation, because while this has a good longevity, maybe like a 10-hour longevity on me, it really wears closely to the skin. And within an hour, I think it's more of a skin scent. Now, I'll spray it pretty heavily on my clothes, on my shirt collar, and on my skin, and end up being able to experience it and having other people comment. I've gotten some compliments with this. But I also think it's the type of fragrance you could wear to a special event, a classy event, or on a date where you're not trying to fill the room with your fragrance. You want to smell nice. You want to smell classy, especially if somebody gets close to you and kind of in your bubble, where they can experience something really classy, really kind of sexy and kind of seductive, and really polished. I think this is a good fragrance because you have to get close to really smell it. It's not going to fill a room, and so it's good for a lot of those closer encounter, or in small areas, those kind of things. And again, like I said, higher brow events where you don't want to be the guy that's smelling really strongly of perfume, right? You want something more subtle. So I think that they did that on purpose with this. They gave it some depth. They gave it kind of that, it has the extreme name, which you think it would be this really loud perfume. But I think they gave it that extreme name because it's extreme in just how many facets it has, and how many ingredients, and how much is going on in this. It's extreme in that way. I think it's also extremely nuanced. It's extremely dark. And most of all, extremely interesting. And it's that interesting part that really keeps me coming back to this one. So, retail price for the 100 ml bottle is $166. There's a 50 ml 1.7 ounce for $122. You can also find this at online discounters. Last I saw it was around $110 for the 100 ml size, or just over $100. It seems to be where you can find it on some of the discounters. Really excited to have this one in my collection. This is one that I really have gone back and forth with, but there's something about it that just, it keeps me coming back. I keep wanting to smell it more. And I think that is, something that you don't always have in a perfume. It's gonna stand up in the cold weather, but like I said, it's gonna be a much more subtle perfume, perfect for close encounter situations, getting close to someone, having somebody really up in your personal space. I think perfect date scent for the fall and winter time. Got Valentine's Day coming up. This would be a great scent, guys, to wear for those Valentine's Day dates or any other special occasion. I think this is a great special occasion fragrance from Tom Ford, and a winner from the designer category from Tom Ford. Really another winner from Tom Ford. I'm getting to where there's not much that I dislike from the House of Tom Ford, but save that for another time. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this one. I'd love to hear your experiences with Tom Ford's Noir Extreme. Do let me know. And if you'd like to do this again sometime, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you right here at the Smells Like Fragrance channel for another video next time. Thanks so much for watching.